There's a lot of nature trails in the villages, but there's a few that are very special, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. So let's go ahead and get started. Right now, I'm up on top of a stand that sits right in just about the beginning. Got some friends out there this morning talking. That sits right in kind of like the entranceway into the boardwalk. Up top, it has a really nice view. As you can see, great morning. They open up at 7 in the morning. Unfortunately, this morning, they didn't open up at 7 as they were supposed to, so I kind of snuck across the fence, but don't tell anybody, so I could get these lovely pictures for you. And we're actually going to take a walk out on the boardwalk that goes right out there. And this morning, looks like I'm going to have it all to myself. But let's take a quick look downstairs and I'll show you the information board that's down there. It's kind of neat. Take some time to read it, and there's 2 steps here. By the way, once again, as most of the boardwalks, you are not allowed to have animals out here or dogs out here. And there are the reasons. So take a look at this. It's about the restoration, which the developers put in a lot of effort to keep the whole villages, the whole nature thing going around the villages. And it's pretty impressive. But let's go take a walk out on the boardwalk here. It's kind of hard to see right now because we're actually walking into the sun. Let's put it this way, it's not a bad way to have your coffee in the morning and take a stroll out here because it's really unique. And as I was out here earlier, the nature sounds right at sunrise were a lot more intense. But it gets you really nice and close to nature. I've been out here before, I've seen gators, there's a ton of turtles, and I've seen snakes, all kinds of happy creatures out here. But I really like this walk. It's a good walk in the morning. I see people back at the, I'll call it the stairs right there, the lookout. It's kind of funny, I can see, maybe you can see that little birds coming out from underneath my feet. And we'll jump out to the, I guess they don't like me waking them up in the morning. But this is a really nice walk. I'll see what I can. I'll take you along. We'll walk along a little bit and check out some of the animals. A lot of birds. There are little descriptions of other animals. Here's a bunch of reptiles. Just a really nice little walk. Now, right over you hear dogs barking because there's actually a dog park, or 2 dog parks, one for larger dogs, one for smaller dogs, right over there. So you'll kind of hear the dogs barking early in the morning. You really have to look closely because these guys just blend right in. I don't know whether you can see them right there. I'll zoom in, but they're just hanging in there just as still as can be. I have no idea what kind of birds are birds, but if you have any idea, put it down in the comments. I'm not a bird watcher. I like to watch them. I like to take pictures of the raptors, as many of you have seen, but I don't know my birds that well.
consider myself just a photographer, not necessarily a birder. Seems like most of the wildlife down here is birds. So
in this area?
It turns you into a birder pretty quickly.
Yeah, I do a lot of photography too, and I just moved down here recently. I closed my gallery up in Pennsylvania, but yeah, this is a really nice area down here. What was your name?
Don.
Don? Nice to meet you, Don.
And you are?
Rusty Nelson.
You look like a Rusty.
Yeah. See, you meet nice people down here. Since I was out here, I figured I might as well show you where the dog park is and the rules for the dog park. You can actually, I guess you can freeze this if you want. And there's the hours, and this is the Atlas Canine Dog Park. As you can tell, we're starting to get a little close to the dog park, but I'll let you check it out. So small dog area and large dog area, maximum 30 pounds and over 30 pounds. But I'm sure there's rules of wanting to keep friendly dogs here and dogs that can play. These look like a bunch of friendly dogs.
So am I going to be famous on YouTube today?
You want to be famous on YouTube? You're famous now. What's your name?
Hal.
Hal? Nice to meet you, Hal.
Nice to meet you.
See, there's always friendly people at the villages, right?
Oh yeah. There's from his hometown.
There you go. So that's it. That's the dog park. Bunch of people having fun with their dogs. I would say more socializing than anything probably, but yeah. Kind of nice area, and they're spread out throughout. Maybe I should do one of the dog parks. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and maybe I'll travel around and check out the dog parks. Before we continue, thank you so much for subscribing and liking. Really appreciate it. And we're actually going to cover, there are 5 boardwalks in the villages, at least that I know of. If you know of more, please let us know down in the comments, and I'll be glad to go out and find them and cover them. But we just did the Sharon Rows, and next we're going to do Sumpter Landing and Okahumpka, Fenny, and Homestead. And if you want to skip ahead to any of those, you can just go down to the chapter markings down below or scrub along in the timeline, and they will each come up as a chapter. But you know, when we do these things, I like to show you also the assets that the villages have to offer to find things. And one of those really great things is the villages.com/map/Wiechens. Basically, this map right here, and it's the same one they use for the sales thing, but you can look up a bunch of stuff on here. Just like, okay, we are going to go to Sumpter next. Just go up here in the left-hand corner and type in Sumpter Landing, and it already comes up right away. Sumpter Landing Boardwalk, and it will take you right to it. And this is basically where we're going, right in this area, and then we're going to walk all the way around, and we'll actually go down into the locks. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on this one. I'm down at Sumpter Square, or Sumpter Landing, or whatever you want to call it, but most of you know where this is, just kind of in the middle of the villages. And the boardwalk I'm looking at right now is definitely not one you would normally think of as a nature walk, boardwalk kind of thing. But if you look at the houses right behind me, it kind of looks like a beach house. But I'm telling you right now, I've been down here quite a few times and seen some really big gators cruising around, a lot of birds, that type of thing. And some like big soft-shell turtles. But this is a really interesting boardwalk, and I'll kind of show you something that's really kind of fun about the boardwalks here and the way things are built. You may think that you'll come up to an area like this that kind of looks like this, and you're going, well, that doesn't really look like the villages, and it's kind of in disrepair. And well, hello there. And you see like what's part of a sailboat stuck out in the water, another thing over there, and and this. But what it actually is this is the way it was designed. So there's a bunch of little areas that you look at that kind of maybe don't look right. It's kind of more Disney-esque, but hi. But this is a nice boardwalk, and I'll show you around and what it's connected to. If you look right here, you have the radio station. There's a little pavilion right here. And then my favorite place is the ice cream place right there. And all around you'll hear the music from the radio station pumped into this area. But you definitely want to keep looking down around here, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen gators. And here's the warning about gators. Do not feed the gators. And here's the Dragon Crew folks out there doing whatever they do. One of these days I'm going to try that. That's the cool thing about the villages, is you get to go try these things. We're going to walk a little further, and I'll show you this area down here and down a little further, and then we'll kind of walk back up by the square. So for those of you that haven't seen the square, you can see how close it is and what that's all about. Now this is the little gazebo area, and the hours are from dawn to dusk, and I've actually seen it open a little later at night, but obviously if it's roped off you can't go. And you'll see docks along here, but this is kind of a fun little walk out here, so don't forget this part. And the docks look like they're ready to bring in some big boats. The problem is you see very few boats out here, and I'll show you one that didn't fare too well over there, but take you for a little walk out here. Check this out. Nice little area. And this is lit up pretty nice at night. As you can see, I'm not going to walk all the way over there, but on the Waterfront Hotel, if anybody's ever stayed there, this goes down to there, and there's a nice pool area and a big deck out there, and some more boats and stuff over there. And we'll go check this out and explain what this boat's all about here in a second. There's a little tour boat that goes around that actually costs you a couple of dollars. And I haven't done it yet, so maybe I'll get out and try that sometime, make a video of that. That's kind of cool. But if you look right over there, there's a ship that didn't make it too well. And that used to be the old tour boat right there. I'm just kidding, all right? I'm just kidding. That's part of that kind of wrecked Disney-esque type of thing. And let me show you the poster right here that'll give you an idea of what's available here. And if you look down the bottom corner over there, that's what it costs, is $2, big $2. So it might be fun, especially have some kids to go on a little cruise out there and check it out. As you're walking back along the path, this is actually from the Waterfront Hotel, you'll start to see a lot of what look like locks. In other words, where boats would come in and out. And this is a picture of the locks. It might get a little windy, sorry. And you have to start wondering, okay, well, where do these boats go along those locks? And this is kind of a nice little walk if you get up this way. But there's also what looks like a train station, transportation station, but that's where Workman's comes in. But this is actually another one of those Disney kind of things. The locks don't really work, but kind of makes for a nice, really nice backdrop. And right up there is Chop House, so if you're having dinner, you can kind of sit right next to the locks. That's another cool thing. A lot of effort was put into making this place look really nice, and the thing is how nice it's kept up all year long. I mean, you very rarely find any kind of trash, and I've actually seen people that live here picking up trash, but you'll always see the flowers and everything everywhere. So, like I said, not particularly a nature type of boardwalk, but it is a boardwalk. It's one of the boardwalks. And if you're lucky, you'll see some big gators in here because I've seen quite a few, and some actually really big turtles too. If you decide to take that walk in Sumter along the boardwalk, it definitely has something that the other walks don't have, and that's the ability to stop by and have a cup of coffee. So that's exactly what I'm doing. You hear that sound? It is before 7 o'clock in the morning when I arrived there. I wanted to catch the sunset, but this kind of reminded me of Disney when you are the first one in line waiting to go down Main Street and they're trying to clean everything off. Here are the rules for Okahumpka, and the one thing that's a little different is the fact that you can actually go fishing. You can see a guy right down there in the red shirt. Now the thing is about Okahumpka, it is not finished yet, because over to the left there is supposed to be a restaurant going in, and that would be in the background there, and they are not going to finish that until the restaurant goes in, so they can build it around the restaurant. But this is the backside of the rec center, really nice rec center. We will take a look at that in a little bit, but it was a gorgeous sunrise this morning, and I can't think of a much nicer place to sit down and have a cup of coffee in the morning, maybe play some checkers or chess, whatever your game is, or maybe just sit back in the easy chair and relax and watch the sun come up. Really gorgeous view. Now taking a look out this way, there's a nice fire pit, and you do have to reserve the fire pit, so you can't just show up there at night and use it, and you have to actually ask them to turn it on. But this is the inside of the rec house, and this is the first time I had been in there, so I really wasn't sure what to expect. And like I've said over and over again, typical for the decorations and stuff that they put in these are just, it's done so well, and it makes you feel like you're in a lake house, just like the sign says right there. I really like that painting. In each one of the rec centers has its own kind of personality, but this one's got some dartboards, it's got shuffleboard, most of them have shuffleboard, a couple of card tables, and the warming kitchen, as I call it, in the back. Not a full-blown kitchen, and I'd really like this because there's actually an arcade game with like Pac-Man playing on there, so I thought that would be kind of fun. And in this room was this, it kind of looks like a dance room or whatever, where you can entertain, and you can rent these rooms out for those that are not familiar with it, but this one had a really nice view outside. And there's the arts and crafts room with the mirrors there for demonstrations, and there's a couple of pottery wheels in there. Really nice. And right next to it is this little pathway that kind of meanders around the water in this area. And you'll find out a lot of these walkways, boardwalks, although they're short, they have pathways connected to them. And just over to the right to get you oriented is where the actual boardwalk and rec center is for Okahumpka. And here's a picture of the lake from the air. And there's actually, you can rent kayaks, but it's under instruction right now, so you just can't rent them anytime. But there's actually a state park on the other side where you can lodge your own kayaks. And you can also take lessons, and I think there were some lessons going on or a tour that day, but that's something that gets booked out way ahead of time. So nice shot of the whole area. This is kind of looking south, and there's the new rec center right there. This is the beginning of the boardwalk, although the boardwalk's pretty small for Fenny. You can see the kind of regulations or whatever down the bottom are the same. And they also don't allow animals swimming or fishing here. Pretty much just a walking path, and definitely no golf carts. Taking a walk along this pathway, it's really nice. You're basically looking, it's a big circle that goes around, and you look into this kind of spring area. And as you go around, you'll see there's a bunch of explanations about the springs, but you can also see the rec center or clubhouse kind of in the background with the pool, and I'll give you a shot of that in a bit. Now, watch real closely. Right in the center of the water, you're going to see some bubbles. I thought they were fish the first time I went there, but they're not. That's actually the water coming into the spring, but you're going to swear that there's a bunch of fish jumping in there. There's little deck areas that have some nice explanation of the wildlife and foliage and different animals that live around there. So it's really done nice. Here's another one right here explaining some of the flowers and plants in the area. And I did actually see a pretty good sized alligator once in there, but you really have to hunt them down. If you venture off slightly, there's like a broken shell path or dolomite, and it leads out onto this little lake area, which is really nice. A nice walk around. There's some homes off to the left and more wildlife to the right, and a few picnic tables. It'd be a really nice place to sit and have a nice little afternoon picnic. Now the rec center, I really like this rec center, and I've heard some stories about how it actually got started, that it was actually a different project from the villages, but it's really nice inside. And if you look to the right here, there's a kind of electronic bulletin board there, and that'll explain things that are going on around town, so to speak. And once again, I'll say it again, this one's just decorated to the hilt, just really tastefully done. You can see the pool tables in the area, and that leads out onto the deck area and towards the pool. Now, one thing that's kind of unique about this rec center at Fenny is the little, kind of looks like an art gallery. The only problem is the images never change. So it would be really nice if one of the art groups took it over and kind of changed out the images once in a while, because it could be a real asset to the villages, I think. But of course, I'm a photographer, so I like to see the different photographs and artwork. This is the pool area. They also have the fire pit there on the left that you could see. I'm not sure whether that actually has to be rented out, but on the far side is the Fenny Grill. I'll show you that in a second. And a really nice pool area. And on the other side, there's a small entertainment area also. So after your walk, Fenny Grill, or before you get into Fenny Grill, a nice place to grab something to eat. Now we're off to Homestead, so let's go ahead and try using the map one more time. I typed in Homestead Recreation Center. As you can see, this is really easy to use, so I hope you get a chance to use it. A little button pops up and it says Homestead Recreation Center. And let's just zoom in on this, and you'll see how detailed these maps get, so they're really useful. This is the dog park area right here. I can zoom in even further. This is the dog park area right here. Over here is the astronomy pads and some of the other little things we'll take a look at. The rec center and the actual boardwalk is right here. It kind of shows up as two little landmass, and that's about it. So let's go visit Homestead Recreation Center and the boardwalk. I had to take a break simply because it started raining, so the raining's off and on, so I figure I'd jump over here really quick. It's kind of overcast, so I don't know how well this is going to turn out, but we'll see. I am at Homestead, and here is the information for the Homestead Nature Trail, and it is 7 a.m. to dusk. Enjoy at your own risk, naturally. Also, as you can see down the bottom, there is walking. There's no bikes, swimming, no dogs, no fishing, no golf carts, and no smoking. Now, I'll take you around because there's kind of some a bunch of different things right around here, but you have to walk down a little bit of a path right here, and it really looks kind of nice back there. And I have never been here, so I really am not sure what to expect, but I see a couple of bridges. They look like bridges, but I guess that's the beginning of the paths. And this is behind the Homestead Rec Center, and there's a path along here. I'll try to see if I can find a map somewhere. And this is really pretty. I don't think this is going to be really long, but I think it'll be a nice little walk. And here is a map. You can kind of freeze frame that if you want. Take a look at it. Some information there. And once again, basically, this just is a walking path for humans. But a really nice little pond, and you already see some nature out there. Well, let's explore this one together. I'm guessing that from the looks of this right down in this area, that this is spring fed. And I can imagine this would stay pretty cool during the summer because there is a canopy over top. Nice little bench. I'll have to find out some information if I can about the springs, but it's really nice back here. I think I'm the only person because of the rain. Some information on the vegetation. I imagine this is really nice early in the morning, a nice little walk. And also that's another thing too, if you guys know of any other boardwalks that I haven't covered or little nature trails, I'd probably love to hear about them. And I'm sure everybody else would too. Obviously there could be alligators anywhere, but this does not look like it would be really conducive to alligator living. Right now, I'm about halfway back, and I'm gonna walk the rest of the way and kind of show you some of the things that are around here, and maybe a quick view of some of the paths that are around here. And I think there's a dog park here and some other things, so we'll check those out before we check out of here. I'm nearing the end right now, and there's this nice little area, as you can see. I'm sure this makes for a pretty picture right now. And the end and the homes are just right up here. It comes out to a little trail, but it's really nice back here. I like it. There's a fence along the edge here, and they tell you not to venture out into the area. I'm sure there's plenty of wildlife, although the only thing I've seen right now is a couple little happy squirrels down there. And that little squirrel just found himself a nut. This kind of ends right here. It almost looks like it was supposed to go a little further, but it's probably just to keep the water in there. There's some birds out in the area. Go take a look. We'll just run right up here, take a look at the rec center, Homestead, which is fairly new, and see whether there is a dog park here. I'm pretty sure there is. And there certainly is a dog park just over in the corner, across from the entrance. As with most of them, 7 a.m. to dusk. Kind of a nice area, and divided up into two size groups. But I did see one other thing over here that I have not been to yet, and that is the astronomy pads. When I originally heard about the astronomy pads, they said that there was a sign up here that said that you could only use the astronomy pads till dusk. Now I see that they've put a patch over part of this, and like I said, this is my first time here, but here's the sign right now, And basically, if you look right here, there's a little patch over it there, and it says, for use of facility after hours, contact the recreation center staff at the number below. And it also says, proper attire required. Now, I have no idea what the proper attire is to go to the astronomy pads, but I guess there's some kind of clothes you have on there. So if anybody's used this, please put down in the comments, let me know what the story is as far as, I guess, getting permission to use it at night, because there are, on the pads, there's also electrical outlets because people need to run their telescopes and stuff like that. I don't know whether they operate off of batteries. I do night photography. I've done some night photography. I'll shine a picture up here right now and you guys can check it out. But down here there's also, looks like horseshoe pits. Looks like a couple of picnic tables and good old cornhole. So there's pads around here, and I'm not 100% sure how you would use them. They're kind of butted up against the trees. I guess if you're looking straight up, you're good. But if you're looking off into the horizon, maybe not so much. Let's go take a look at the rec center, because I really haven't looked at it too much, so we'll check it out together. I'm out in the parking lot right now, and as you can see, still some building going on back there, but there's a walking path that goes all the way up there, and then that goes up into St. Catherine. There's a lot of shuffleboard and your normal kind of stuff around there. People playing pickleball. I don't know whether I'd try it with the kind of wet ground, but there are some dedicated people. Anyway, this is Homestead. And we'll go in and check it out. And as normal, it is kind of like the Homestead feel to it. A really nice pool area. Kind of come in here and hang out. And this is like normal. The lights should come on when we walk in here. Nope, no lights. But I think you can see it kind of has that Homestead look to it. So kind of the normal things you'd see in there. Some arrowheads. I got to hand it to the I'll call it decorating department. They definitely, every time I come into one of these, I'm always amazed at what a great job they did. So that's about it. That's about it for Homestead. And yeah, that's about it for Homestead. Kind of like that little walk. I think if you were doing a walk along the outside out here, and you wanted a place to come kind of get off the beaten path a little bit, it'd be kind of a fun little trip right there. And that's about it. That's all 5 boardwalks. We covered the Sharon, Sumter Landing, Okahumpka, and Fenny and Homestead. And it was a lot of fun. So if you guys get a chance to get up, go up early in the morning. They're really nice to see early in the morning and have a cup of coffee and walk around. Hi, how you doing? And it's definitely worth the run up there. And as I always say, I will either see you back here on YouTube, or I will see you right here in the villages. Have a great day.